If you're looking for a premium enclosed intake setup that will give your 2010 to 2024 4Runner an improvement in power, response, and of course sound, then this S&B intake is for you. This is a high quality, no tune required setup that provides you with all the benefits of an aftermarket intake with an oiled filter and gives you the consistency and heat mitigation properties of your stock setup, which makes it sort of a best of both worlds scenario. Just a quick note on fitment here before we dive in too deep. This is designed to fit 2010 to 2024 4-liter powered 4Runners, excluding 2022 to 2024 SR5 and TRD Sport models. Cold air intakes are some of the most popular modifications you can make to your truck, and with good reason. However, not all intakes are created equal. Many on the market are just open filters in the engine bay, and while they may be able to pull in a greater volume of air than your stock intake, they're going to be pulling in a lot of hot air from within the engine bay itself. And that's where something like this one from S&B comes in. Now, the manufacturer claims that this is a 43% increase in airflow versus your stock intake, and that overall it is 99.26% efficient in its filtering. So let's take a closer look at how they accomplish that. Now, the biggest and most obvious feature here is that this is a fully enclosed system. It is larger than your stock airbox, and it's still going to pull air from outside of the truck. So it's going to be pulling in cool air rather than sucking in hot air from inside the engine bay. S&B also has this clever plug that you can pop out right here. So you can make this more of an open box if you want more optimum performance or you just want extra airflow. But if you're out in the heat, you can seal this whole thing off and keep the filter cleaner and cooler. The lid is sealed off too, and the plexiglass here adds some visual interest to the engine bay. You can also check on the condition of the filter without having to disassemble anything, and you can just pop this right out using the included tab like that. Cooler air, of course, combusts better, and that means more power and better response for you. Now, that large air box is going to house an equally large air filter. This thing has got a lot of surface area, so a lot more air is going to flow through it. More air again means better combustion, and that means more power. This filter is also oiled, so on the surface of the pleats you've got a thin layer of oil that is extremely helpful in capturing small particles of dust, dirt, and debris. It really just adds an extra layer of protection to help unwanted stuff from getting sucked into your intake and engine. And you can reuse this filter, so it's going to help you save on maintenance costs, and you only need to clean and re-oil this occasionally. If properly maintained, these types of filters can last you a heck of a long time, so again, you don't have to replace it all the time. And if you drive in dusty or dirty conditions regularly, you'll find this extremely helpful. Next, we have the intake tube. Now, this is totally unbaffled, and as such, it's going to have some nice resonance to it. So between the filter, the airbox, and this thing right here, you're going to get more intake noise. And that is my favorite part of an intake setup like this, because it's just going to make it sound better. It just makes it more fun to drive. It is also worth noting that this setup does not require you to tune your vehicle either, so you can just bolt it on and be ready to roll. Construction here is all pretty high quality, as we've come to expect from S&B. The box and the intake tube are made from durable ABS plastic, which is strong, lightweight, and has good heat resistance properties. That clear lid I mentioned earlier is constructed from polycarbonate, and all the seals are made from premium thick silicone, so everything is going to be strong and durable. The filter we were looking at earlier is an 8-layer cotton media with some seriously deep pleats to it. So suffice it to say, everything here makes for a pretty stout setup that's going to last you a long time. The whole kit is going to run you about $400, and that's pretty standard for the category. You're getting some nice features here, and it's going to give you some good sound, good results, and it's going to be easy to service and put together. So overall, I think this is pretty good value for what you're getting. When it comes to installation, we're going to give this a 1 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should take you around 1 hour to complete. Overall, this is a pretty simple installation, and everything you need to get it installed on your 4Runner is included in the box. So it's a totally bolt-on setup, and again, does not require you to tune it. We're going to show you how to get this installed on your own vehicle right now, so for that, let's head on out to the shop and we'll walk you through the process.
Tools required for this install include a ratchet, scissors or diagonal cutters, Phillips head screwdriver, an 11mm wrench, an extension, 8, 10, 12, and 13mm sockets.
What's up guys? Today we're installing an intake on our 4Runner. First we're going to watch a quick uninstall video showing you how to remove your factory intake, and then we'll meet you back here for the install.
All right, first thing we're going to do is we have to remove our engine cover. That just lifts off, and then we have 2 lines to disconnect. So we're going to need a pair of pliers just to loosen the clamps. All right, you're just going to grab the front of the engine cover, lift up, and then pull out. Put that off to the side. Now we have our first line here. You can either use your fingers to loosen it, or if you need to, use a pair of pliers. Then just move the clamp backwards. Wiggle that off. And then our second line is this smaller line here. Ours comes with a new line that we're going to replace, so we're going to take it off down here. All right, now we're going to take our ratchet with an extension and a 10mm socket. We're going to loosen our clamp at our throttle body and then also take our 10mm bolt out of our mount here. All right, now we're going to disconnect our mass airflow sensor. Just squeeze the tab down and pull up. Then we're going to grab our clip removal tool, and we just have to remove the wiring off of our air box. So we have one here, and then two on the back side here that might be hard to see. So just grab our clip removal tool, get underneath, just lift them up. All right, and then we're going to release the top of our airbox. So there are 4 spring clips going all the way around. Just release them. Lift up, and then pull off your throttle body. Take your air filter out, and now we can take out our 12mm bolts that are on the inside of the airbox. So we're going to grab our ratchet, extension, and 12mm socket, and take them out. There's 2 on the inside and then 1 on the back here. All right, and then you can pull the bottom airbox out.
So now with our factory intake removed, we're just going to take a Phillips head screwdriver and remove the 2 screws holding our mass airflow sensor in. And then we can just wiggle this out of place. And now we can start assembling our new intake. So now we're going to start by assembling our intake tube. We need to mount our mass airflow sensor in it, as well as install the fitting for our vacuum line. So I'm going to get our vacuum line fitting in there first. We're just going to thread that into the threaded hole. And then take an 11mm wrench to snug it down. You don't need to go crazy tight on this one. And then we'll install our mass airflow sensor. So first we're just going to line it up and get our orientation correct. And then we're going to drop it into our bracket here. On the other side we're going to put our gasket in. And then take the 2 Phillips head screws included in the kit. Drop those through the holes. Drop that into place. And tighten it down with a Phillips head screwdriver. So now we're just going to install all of our seals and couplers onto our airbox. So we have this one that's going to be going on our air inlet. So we're just going to have to stretch that over. And that one's just going to be a press fit. We're not going to have a clamp for that. And then we have our plug here. Just pop that into place. And then we'll flip it around to the other side to install the seal for our intake tube. Now this side is going to be pointed into our airbox, and then we just have this little lip that's going to wrap around the lip of our box. So just work that around until you get it popped in all the way. Now we're going to grab our intake box and slide this into place. So pull your MAF sensor wiring out of the way. Drop it in there, and then we'll install our 3 bolts inside the airbox. Now we're going to install our 3 bolts included in the kit. They're all going to get a flat washer, and these are just going into the factory airbox mounting holes. Might be a little tough to see here. And then we're gonna take a 13 millimeter socket to tighten all of those down. Next, we're gonna have to pop off the bracket that our factory intake mounted to because it's blocking access for our intake tube to go into our air box. So I'm just gonna go through the air box here with a 10 millimeter socket and extension to remove that bolt. And then pop that bracket off. So now we're just gonna get our filter in the box and our intake tube installed. I've got the coupler that's going on our throttle body with the 2 clamps here. So I'm gonna pop that on first. Just make sure that's seated all the way around. And then you can grab your filter, drop that into the air box. And then we'll install our intake tube. So you're gonna wanna press this into the air box first, and then pull it back to get it into the coupler on the throttle body. Slide your filter onto that tube. And then we can go back and tighten down all of our clamps. Now grab an 8 millimeter socket and go back and tighten down all of your clamps. So next we're going to install our vacuum line here. Now I'm going to be cutting this down to size. So I'm going to get it onto our fuel pressure regulator first. Just slide that on. And then take a pair of scissors or diagonal cutters. I'm going to leave a little bit of slack in it. And make your cut. Press it onto your fitting. And then we can reconnect our PCV line. Pinch the clamp and move that into place. And then plug in your mass airflow sensor. Now lastly, we're going to install our cover. We've got a little gasket and then our lens that's going to go in there. So we're just going to work it into the channel in there. And then we're just going to lay it on and press it into place. And then you're good to go. Now, the last thing we need to do is install our engine cover. So we're just gonna hook these 2 clips onto these grommets. And then we have the grommets on the bottom that are gonna snap down onto those studs. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the SMB cold air intake with oiled cleanable cotton filter for your 2010 to 24 War-Leader 4Runner, excluding 22 to 24 SR5 and TRD Sport. Thank you for watching, and for all things 4Runner, keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.